So the first thing we're going to do with our self-portrait project is get our reference photo, the photo of your portrait, and you're going to take a ruler. You're going to measure out 1 by 1 inch measurements along the border. I'm starting from the bottom left of the picture. I've got my ruler up right where the picture starts. I'm not starting even on the white little border. I'm starting where the picture starts. And I'm measuring out 1 inch. Make sure you note where the inch is. It's the big line, in this case, behind the number on each end of the ruler. Now I'm connecting the points I've made on each end, point to point. I've got the ruler lined up right next to each point. I'm holding it straight and sturdy, and I'm drawing those lines straight as possible, connected to each point, so they should be perfect. It's really important that this grid is just right. Now I'm measuring out the other side, the long way on the portrait photo. So I do one side, and then I'm sliding up the ruler to the other side, and I'm measuring out those points on the other side. Now that I've got points on each side, now I'm going to take the ruler again and connect point to point. I make sure I got the ruler lined up right next to each point, holding it sturdy with my left hand as I draw the line with my right hand. It's really important that you do the points on each side, or else people think they can do points on one side and just draw a line straight without matching it up on the other side, but it comes out crooked if you do it that way. Alright, so that part's done. Now that I've got my grid on my photo reference, I'm going to label it. Numbers on the left hand side, and notice I'm writing the numbers to the side of the box, not on the line itself, and I'm doing letters underneath the boxes for the other axis. Now what I'm doing next is I'm measuring out 16 inches across the bottom of my large piece of paper. This is going to be double the size of my smaller portrait photo. So I have 8 boxes on my smaller portrait photo for going across, and I know I need to double it in size. So instead of 8 inches, it's going to be 16 inches, and every box is 2 by 2 inches now on the larger piece of paper. So across it's 16 inches, and vertical it's 21 inches, because on my portrait photo the vertical is 10.5 inches tall, so I'm doubling that. So on my larger piece of paper, the vertical is 21 inches, which I'm doing now, and the horizontal is 16 inches across. You just double it. If you wanted to make an even bigger portrait, you could triple it, but for this project we're just doubling it. So just like on my smaller portrait photo, I'm making the point measurements on each side, and then I'm taking the ruler, lining it up point to point, connecting each point with a line using my ruler, making sure the edge is straight, the line is straight. And that's really the hard part, honestly. I think once you get the measurements out of the way, now it gets kind of fun. So I'm going to label it before I start drawing, and these should be the same amount of boxes, and everything should make sense right now. So when I start drawing this portrait, you'll notice I'm just drawing the big outline around my shoulder, around my neck, around my hair shape, around my face shape, coming down around the chin, going back around the chin the other way. Then I'm going into the face more, and I'm getting the neck's biggest shape, so kind of pulling out that shape of the hair from the inside of the face more. Then I will go in and kind of get eyebrow, eye, shadow under the eye, mouth, little beard shape, and start pulling the rest of these outlines together. But it's really important that you're getting the biggest shapes first before going into details. When I start painting, I'm going to begin by massing in all of the dark areas first. Massing is just a word that means covering the most area of paint of one color that you can at one time. So there's a lot of shadow in this portrait, so I'm doing the background in shadow where I need to, and then as I kind of hit the dark areas in the background, I'm just going into the face and doing some of the line work that needs to have more shadow there, and massing in the hair color dark too. Then once I feel like I've kind of masked in most of the dark areas that I need to, I'll go in and start doing a general face color, kind of a warm, starting warmer with that face color, which means no white in it yet. I'm saving really the white for later, but kind of a deep pink or peach color with red, yellow. There's a little white in there. And then I like to kind of jump back and forth between painting in the lights, painting more of the darks, and it is healthy to kind of go back and forth. You shouldn't feel like any of the paint that you're putting on right now is necessarily the final stroke you're going to do in that area. I know I'm going to come back and do a lot of changes, but right now I just want to kind of, again, mass in the major color areas, major color shapes that are really obvious right now. So one thing that I'm doing now is I just scrape down the face a little bit with a razor to take off some of the excess paint, and then I'm going in with my brush again and I'm kind of just remassing those areas where maybe I got a little caught away or caught up with detail, and I've kind of just blended those areas together again in like a general pattern. I scraped off some of the excess paint, and I'm not afraid to go and paint some areas again if I didn't really get it the first time, which is most often the case. Most of the time, the paint you're putting down, especially in the beginning, you're gonna change it. You shouldn't feel like, oh, I messed up and now I have to start all over. Because first of all, you can wipe a painting down and repaint it, and second of all, you can always let the painting dry and paint over it fresh again the next time. Also, you know, really good to save those really little details as long as you can for the end, like the eye, the highlights, things of that nature. It's just always the best way you want to work is going from big to small, saving detail for the end.